playoff
After
teams.
I praised your Panthers, I cannot
But
believe you.
but I'm gonna the let
All right,
me
I'm
Hold on.
going
I
next.
think
I'm going
I think
next.
hold on.
I'm going to
I
go ahead
think
and
we
make
all
this move real quick. They're going number one overall pick again. All right, Tyler,
okay.
it's your toast now.
Thank you all for tuning in to episode 5 of our reactions to the bracket and our picks. Let us know down in the comments below on how your all's brackets are doing. Currently, most of our brackets are busted because Kentucky lost. If y'all don't know by now, you should know by the time this episode comes out. But I think that's the main bracket buster, but we're not going to get to
Yeah,
that
and all
too
of the
much.
bracket that we made's already busted too. So
Yeah. Um,
you live and you learn.
but yeah, today we're going to be doing another NFL video. I know there's not much to do with NBA right now because they're in season, but once the playoffs come around, we're going to make a video on who we believe is going to win it. And yeah, today we have the tier list, and I'm going to hand it off to Brayden. He's going to explain more of what we're going to be doing.
Appreciate it. So obviously, as you all can see on screen, we have all of the tier list from Super Bowl favorites all the way down to number one pick contention. This is for next season, obviously. This is also a good time to do this just because free agency is kind of dying down now. There wasn't much noise since we filmed. The only few things that happened were RIP Justin Fields, Bears legend. And I'm gonna go ahead and publicly
Bears
speak on
legend.
that's I'm gonna go ahead and speak on my behalf. It's a business, like we said in our one video about the NFL. And I know that he's in a better place now being coached with on Tyler's team on the Steelers, and your phone is loud as shit. Um,
I don't know.
Why
I don't
anyway,
why
know.
was that so loud?
I don't know.
anyway, uh, I'm happy for him to be coached behind Russell on Tyler's team. I know Tyler was excited to get him. And it's a business, and I'm excited to see what Caleb Williams does if that's who we decide to draft. But
It's
I
gonna
have
be who they draft.
I have seen comments that the common Bears move would be to draft Drake May first overall. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited. The Saints also picked up Chase Young on their defense. And there was one more. Oh, Mike Williams signed with the Jets. So those are really only two big or three big moves that happened during the time of our last NFL video. So um, we don't have to go in any specific order. So if you all see a team you want me to do first, we can talk about that.
I
Um,
think we probably should go by let's go by divisions.
all right.
So we can start with the
Um,
NFC and then end with the AFC.
okay. So we'll start with the NFC North. So that's Vikings, Bears, Packers, and Lions. So the first one I see on this list in order is the Vikings. Personally, for me, if you look at the offseason they've had with getting rid of Kirk, getting rid of crap, what's his name? The guy that went to San Francisco, Josh Dobbs. They got rid of him too. Quarterback situation isn't ideal for them. So if you ask me, I see mediocre at best.
I'm gonna have to go with missing playoff team just because the pieces that they have already on the team. With they got good receivers. I don't know much about their defense. I know they lost a couple
Defense is all
players.
right.
Yeah. But their offense is good. And I think that'll carry them just outside the playoffs. So I would personally have them as missing the playoff team.
I'm gonna have to agree with Tyler just because it depends on their QB situation. Because I'll say this, I don't know. The draft is still a decent ways away. And I think that if they do go and try to trade up for to get a QB in the draft, I think it depends on the QB that they draft and what they do in the draft that will ultimately dictate what they do. Because I don't think Sam Darnold should be starting for their QB position.
Oh, I
And
forgot
if
they
he
got Sam
does,
Darnold.
huh?
I forgot they got Sam Darnold,
And
but
if
that's
Sam
not
Darnold
really an
starts
issue.
for that team, they're probably gonna just be mediocre. So I'm basing this decision solely off of what I think they'll do in the draft, which is to go get QB since that's what
Smart.
they need most right now. So
Yeah.
I'd put him. I could see him as a fringe playoff team only because they have the best wide receiver in the league right now in Justin Jefferson. So
Yeah.
you can't really argue with that there. And they still have a pretty good defense for the most part. It could win them enough games to get them into the playoffs for sure.
Do you all want to do like where obviously it says like missing playoff teams? Like for example, if we chose the Rams and we think that they're better than the Vikings, do you want to put them in front of them, or do you just want to put them in the same list? Doesn't matter about order.
Well, let's put them in categories first, and then if we want to rearrange, then we can at the end.
All right. Next one I see up is the Lions. For me, the Lions became a big surprise last year as far as how far they made it. Not how good they did, but how far they made it. Um, but personally, I think with the returning cast that they have, they didn't lose a lot of free people in the free agency. They didn't gain a lot of people in free agency, so they're going to have a very, very similar team besides C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They have some holes to fill as far as important pieces. Personally, I think their offense is pretty good. From the O line to the receivers to the tight end to the best running back room in my opinion in the NFL. Um, I think their offense is good. Their defense is a little lackluster. So for me, I'm gonna put them at playoff teams. They definitely proved themselves this year, but every NFL season is different. So I think that this year they'll just be a playoff team. I think they'll win first round and then lose second round in the divisional.
I respectfully disagree with you. I think that this year was kind of the year, like this year was their best year that they've had in a really long time. I mean, they made the playoffs for the first time in like a really long time. And they had a largely successful season that almost ended in them making a Super Bowl. They were one half away. And so I think that they're going to take what they learned this year and they're going to take it and apply it to their motivation to going into next year. And I think that that puts them in that kind of tier where they could contend for a Super Bowl. So I would put them more in that Super Bowl contender spot.
Yeah, I'm agree with Austin. I'm gonna move them a tier up from you, Braden. I'm gonna go Super Bowl contenders. Like you said, they are a little pieces away, but I believe they can fill those pieces maybe possibly throughout the season with trades. But yeah, I'm gonna go Super Bowl contenders for the Lions because, like you said, they were half away, and I feel like they'll learn, especially with Dan
Yeah.
Campbell, head coach. They'll learn, and then they'll uh, do what they need to do.
I can't say I disagree. I would personally put them in playoff team, but I could see them as Super Bowl contenders.
Your
Um,
your your opinions, Brain, are getting owned right now.
um, Now next one up is my Bears. If you looked at them last year, definitely would have put them at young but intriguing or mediocre at best. But with the offseason moves that they've made, with re-signing people and bringing in DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen and getting rid of Fields for hopefully Caleb Williams, personally, I think they're a potential wild card. I don't see them winning the division. I don't see them going very far in the playoffs, but this is the future that the Bears have been looking for a few years. And I think I can see them as potential wild cards, but not much more than that.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I mean,
Awesome.
no further and no less.
Yeah.
Um,
I see them at like a 8 or 9 or a 9-8 record,
I
just
just
barely missing or making the playoffs. But I'm
yeah,
I'm since they're my
it's
Bears, I'm
it's
gonna bump them up.
it's really hard to kind of put that team in a specific category this year because you don't know one who they're going to draft at QB. I mean, it should be Caleb Williams based on just he's the best QB out of the three out of the top candidates that are out there. It's not really a great QB class. Um, so you can't really judge how their season's going to go. I would really think that based on the weapons that they have, it would be good enough to make them as a potential wild card. But given that their QB is going to be coming in on his first rookie year, I don't see outside of CJ Stroud, I haven't really seen a rookie QB really take an insanely large leap from going from college to making a really huge impact
It's rare to
in
see
the
that.
first year. Huh?
I said it's rare to see that.
It's
Yeah.
very, very rare to see that. So outside of CJ Stroud, I just don't see Caleb Williams doing that. So I put him more as a missing playoff team.
Well, since I put the Bears or the Lions and the Vikings as far as a consensus, I'm just going to put them as a potential wild card just because it's 2-1. But I see what you're saying, Austin, where there is uncertainty with Caleb. I like what you said, how there's
If yeah.
uncertainty. What?
If he'd already played a year and they like borderline almost made the playoffs, I would sit here and say yes, they're making the playoffs next year. but like I don't know, the
Yeah,
uncertainty still surrounds that
But yeah,
QB.
there's a lot of questioning around how
but
Caleb Williams is
I
gonna
like
do.
how you compared Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud, how it's very, very seldom that you'll get a quarterback that'll come into the league and just take it by surprise. I mean, you had Patrick Mahomes a few years ago that did that. You had CJ Stroud who did it this year. So it's kind of a hit or miss.
Yeah.
Obviously the 2021 draft class with like Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones and Trey Lance and all that, that was a flop of a class. So there's not to say that this class definitely looks a lot more talented than that class. But I like that comparison. So we're just gonna put them at potential wild cards. But with what Austin said, with that uncertainty, they could definitely be a missing the playoffs team. But for this ranking, we're gonna put them at potential wild cards, just because of if in this circumstance we're saying Caleb Williams is gonna come in, Caleb Williams is gonna be who people think that Caleb Williams is going to be. So if he meets those expectations and is that quarterback that everyone thinks he's going to be for a number one overall pick, then they're definitely a potential wild card. Maybe around N, but no farther than that. Um, and then the final NFC North team is the Packers. They
I
definitely stunned.
think there's no. I mean, there's no.
They definitely stunned um, everyone this year. Uh, they were, I think, 1-7, and then back half of the season they were firing on all cylinders. I know we talked about this in the last NFL video. I'm a big fan of the Packers' future. I mean, it's hard to take them out um, with Jordan Love's skill, with their young receiving core, and their new upgrade to Josh Jacobs at running back, which in my opinion is a better running back than Aaron Jones. I don't know how he's going to fit with their system, but I definitely think he's better than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones fit the system, but
Maybe.
yeah. So in my opinion, I see the Packers being a playoff team. I think that they will come into it. They're going to come out the season hot. And I think that they're gonna win a game or maybe even go to the what's it called championship game. Not the with their young core, I think there's some flaws. So I don't know if they'll make the Super Bowl. It's definitely a potential, but I can definitely see the Packers being a playoff team.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go up 2 tiers. I mean, Jordan Love is probably the most breakout quarterback that we've seen as far as like quarterbacks that have been in the league. So to me, I think they're a top 2 or 3 Super Bowl favorites out of the NFC North or out of the NFC, just period. So I would have to put them on Super Bowl favorites just because of what they did with the team they had and who they went against. Um, they're gonna make moves because I know Green Bay is a good organization. They
They're
always
smart.
make what seems is the right move, especially when it comes to developing quarterbacks. We all know that they're the best at it. Um, but yeah, I have them at Super Bowl favorites.
That's what you got.
Um, I agree with Tyler, but to an extent, I don't think that they're favorites to win. I do think they are contenders. And the reason why I say that is because we got a little glimpse this year of what their ceiling potentially could be next year and in the next couple of years, given that they're the youngest team in the NFL right now. So, given that, on top of the fact that they have had a lot of success in drafting players over the last couple of years, I'd say they're at least favorites. We mentioned this in our first NFL video that we did of the people that we thought were favorites to come out of the NFC next year, and both me and Tyler agreed that we thought the Lions and the Packers were the two teams probably in the NFC that would come out of that conference.
I could see the Packers uh, having a chance to come out of the NFC.
I'll have to agree with Tyler's point of the Packers. They were with if they hadn't lost to the 49ers, it would have been the two teams I just listed, the Packers and the Lions in the NFC Championship. And I stick by that. And I know Tyler probably still does. So I would put them more towards Super Bowl contenders. So it kind of agrees
Yeah,
with Tyler. Yeah.
yeah, I think Super Bowl contenders is best. Super Bowl favorites.
Super Bowl
Yeah,
favorite is a little bit of a stretch,
yeah,
but
I
we're
can see
getting
what you mean by
Yeah.
stretch.
yeah.
Let's
So
put
I
them at
mean,
Super Bowl contenders, and we can always change it later if
yeah, I'll put them
we
as Super
have.
Bowl contenders just
Yeah.
because if you consensus all of ours together, it puts it right in the middle. Um, so I'll put them there. Um, so all right. Next team up or next division up, I'm just gonna kind of go like a compass is the NFC East. So you got the Giants, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Commanders. First one I see on the board is the Giants. It's hard after the season they've had and after the definite losses that they've had with Saquon. That's a huge hit. That's really something that's going to set them back. They did get some defensive players with Brian Burns from the Panthers. So they picked up some key pieces to start that rebuild to be a team that can in the next 4 years, maybe five, after they can finish their rebuild and get some young players, some experienced players. I can see them being maybe a potential wild card, missing playoff team in 4 to 5 years. But I right now, I really can't see a world where they are anything but a number one pick contention.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's probably a 3-0 pick for number one pick contention. They're not young, really. They're not really mediocre. They're way below mediocre. So I think number one is probably the best category for the Giants
This is
because
kind of not.
they
This is
did.
a debate. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right,
They're a
I'll switch
bad
to you.
team.
They did. Hold on. They didn't really do anything in free agency that I
The
can
only thing
think
they
of.
did was Brian Burns. I think that was about it.
Yeah, and that
Not
was
make the
pretty much
defense
it.
that much better though.
Well, I mean they have Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence, but
Again, it,
yeah.
it
That's
doesn't.
that's in my opinion, that's a building point. That's definitely a big three that you can build upon with those three and Dexter Lawrence, Thibodeau, and Brian Burns. They're all three of the best players in their respective class, as far as positioning. Um, but I mean I can list off like five people better than them in each position, maybe more. But yeah, also what's your take on the Giants, where you think they fit?
I already said I
Number one
agree
pick
with you.
contention.
Yeah.
All right. This next one's interesting. We got the Eagles. Last year was a disappointment.
Yeah, you think?
Year before that was a disappointment. Lost in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and then this year they lost against the Buccaneers in the first round. No one thought that was going to happen, but Baker Mayfield came out firing. No pun intended. Buccaneers firing pirate ships. But but uh, the Eagles they had a massive pickup and a massive upgrade with the running back. Um, they picked up C.J. Gardner-Johnson for their defense, which corners are where they really struggle. Besides Darius Slay, that's pretty much all they have as far as their backfield on defense. They also lost Fletcher Cox, who's been on their team for many years. Won the Super Bowl with them. They also lost arguably the best center of all time, Jason Kelsey. So those are two huge losses that are gonna set them back a little bit and try to find their starting piece. Because if you have a veteran like that who starts year after year being a solid piece, and then you move into a rookie or someone who hasn't had as much starting experience, and they got to try to figure it out on the fly while also trying to be good. But with that being said, you have arguably one of the top 10 quarterbacks right now in the NFL. You have one of the most elusive. Are you good?
It was a yawn.
Anyway,
I had mucus.
you have one of the most elusive backs in Saquon Barkley. Um, and you have AJ Brown, one of the most go up and grab him receivers, probably the best besides DK. You also have one of the best young developing wide receivers who disappointed last year, but in previous years he wasn't as bad in Devonta Smith. So if you ask me, I'm putting the Eagles as Super Bowl contenders. Also, what you got?
I'm conflicted because I want to agree with you, but at the same time, I just after last year's collapse, it really does not make me believe that a switch at running back really makes a difference between putting a team in a Super Bowl contender position or just being just an average playoff team. And this is the scenario that I agree with. They have a lot of weapons. I just don't think that they are composed enough and really have trying to find the word for it, the capability or the abilities to really contend versus with the Lions or the Packers. They have a good team, don't get me wrong, but I really just see them as a playoff team because if you look at their last couple of years, last year they really limped to the finish line. The year before, they got beat by the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That really was pretty much their only chance to really win a Super Bowl in my eyes that I see in the next couple years for a really long time, and they blew it. And the year before that, they weren't really that good. I don't think they might have not even made the playoffs. I don't remember exactly, but I just don't see that a switch at running back really makes that big of a difference between whether a team is going to be really, really good or really, really bad, because it still doesn't fix the issues of what the defense did down the stretch of the season and vice versa with the offense. Like it just didn't produce down the end of the season. They lost to teams that they shouldn't have for no reason whatsoever, even with basically the same offense that they still have now. So
Yeah.
I put it more as a playoff team in my opinion.
But so with the Eagles, I have to agree with Austin. I've been debating whether they're a wild card team or playoff contender, but I'm gonna stick with playoff contender because they're not that low of level of talent to where they're gonna be a wild card team or a first round exit. So I think we should just leave them at playoff contender and no further and go no further with them.
All right. Next up is the Commanders. They got the second overall pick this year. Lost a lot of key pieces on defense last year in free agency with Montez Sweat and Chase Young. So if you ask me, I think they're young but intriguing. With the second overall pick, they're most likely going to be taking a quarterback in either Drake May or Jaden Daniels. I saw something today that they are leaning towards Jaden Daniels with the pro day that happened. But either way, I think they're young but intriguing. They have a few veterans, but overall that team is relatively young, offensive and defensive. So I got them at young but intriguing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I feel like towards the season, maybe we see some peaks from their new guys that they're going to have, and then they'll be mediocre at best. But 100% agree with you that they're young with Terry McLaurin and Johan Dotson at wide receiver. They just need that quarterback that can get them the ball often. Um, so, yeah, young but intriguing.
And I'll agree with you guys, and I'll keep it short and sweet with this one. But they fired their coach, they got a new GM, they added some pieces to their defense, and they also added Austin Eckler in their backfield. So I think that they won't be really good next year. I think they win maybe 7 games next year. But they might show a little bit of promise this year as far as like if they pick the right QB and they go out and get some wide receivers or they go out and get a really good O line. I think that they could be at least somewhat relevant, so to speak, in the next 10 years, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I'm also kind of excited to see, personally, if you ask me, I'm kind of excited to see how this pans out. Like, obviously, with the end of the next season, which won't be until February, but I'm also kind of excited to see if we predicted these right. So, last NFC team or NFC East got the Cowboys. I could go on and on and on and on about the Cowboys and how they choke in the playoffs and they're a good regular season team, but I'm just going to keep it sweet. Um, they have a good team. Arguably one of the best receivers in the league right now is CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, who's solid year in and year out. They have an outstanding defense, arguably one of the best overall defenses in the league. So with their proven track record, I'm going to put them at playoff contender behind the Eagles, just because I think the Eagles are a better team and they can produce more in the playoffs. So if you ask me, I got the Cowboys behind the Eagles and playoff contenders.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. They're never going to really be they're always going to be a top seed in the NFC, but they're always going to be that team in the NFC that you go up against and you're completely fine no matter who's on their offense or who's on their defense because of history. And history tends to repeat itself with the Cowboys. So, yeah, I think they'll end up at the end of this playoff contender list. And that'll just be it for the Cowboys. So,
I'm gonna be real with you. I really would put them at mediocre at best. And the reason why I say that is because there's a difference between what we consider playoff contenders and what we define as mediocre. And the reason why I say mediocre is because they have a great regular season, but when it comes time to the playoffs, they're mid and they sell and they choke.
I'll put them right in front of the Bears at potential wild cards. I think that they are a better team than the Bears. I think they'll make it farther if they make the playoffs. But if you had to ask me, just to kind of put it in between playoff contender and Austin's mediocre at best, I think at the actually, do you want me to put them behind? Do y'all think I should put them in front or behind the Bears?
Yeah, in front, they're known
They are
to.
better than the Bears,
Yeah,
but I just think that the only reason why they won the division last year and they hosted a playoff game was because the Eagles sold at the end of the season. So I don't see them
True.
doing that next year. But you really don't. I think the Cowboys are never going to win anything because
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is a terrible GM and he sucks and he needs to
They didn't do
get.
anything this offseason either, besides
Yeah, I mean,
besides releasing Tony Pollard. So
yeah,
that's a big hole they got to
typical
fill.
Dallas Cowboy, off season where they do jack.
It just kind of reminds me of the Clemson Tigers of the NFL, where they don't do anything in free agency or with Clemson the transfer portal. I think it's very similar. So that wraps up the NFC East. On to the NFC South. In the NFC South,
God,
you have the middest division, in my opinion. Sorry, Austin.
you want to
But
start with my team?
yeah, well, so in that division, there's the Saints, the Buccaneers, the what's it called?
Panthers,
Panthers, and the Falcons.
Falcons.
So first one on the list is obviously front at the list is the Saints. Picked up Chase Young. Their defense is definitely I think their defense is definitely there. Um, and I feel like they can make it far with their defense, but their offense really isn't it. They really haven't found a quarterback to stick with. They've been tossing around quarterbacks since Drew Brees. Um, they have Chris Olave, who's pretty good. Michael Thomas is always hurt. So if you ask me, I'm gonna put him at mediocre at best.
Uh, just real quick, I think Michael Thomas got released.
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that even more supports my point. Mediocre at best.
Um,
Saints continue taking L's.
I think, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to put them at missing playoff teams. I think if they were, they would be at the back of the
Yeah.
bus for that category. They're not really that mediocre because they
I
do
don't even.
have.
I think they're more like young but intriguing, in my opinion. But
I think they're mediocre at best.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
We'll keep it
But
towards the end of the mediocre at best.
yeah.
Next one up on the list is the Buccaneers. They absolutely shocked the world last year. Baker Mayfield finally got his chance, got a supporting cast, and he absolutely balled out. From beginning to end, even in the playoffs, they did fall short, but I really, really like this team. Mike Evans really re-signed, so obviously he has interest in staying with the team. Baker Mayfield is obviously still staying too, and they didn't lose a lot of pieces last year or in the offseason. So it's the same team pretty much as last year, and then you add some rookies that can develop in time. So if you ask me, I got them at behind the Bears at potential wild cards.
Um, wait, who are we talking about again? Sorry, I had it written before.
Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. I would put them ahead of the Eagles just because obviously it spoke for itself last season in the playoffs. Um, they whooped the crap out of the Eagles, respectively. Um, they're going to be a playoff contending team, maybe at best a Super Bowl contender. I don't know if they'll ever be a Super Bowl favorite, but right now I would have them in front of the Eagles as a playoff contender just because they return the guys that they needed to potentially make that next step. And yeah, I have them above the Eagles.
I'll agree with Tyler on that. I think that last season was kind of indicative upon how well they can perform, given that they re-signed Baker Mayfield and also brought back Mike Evans and they brought back some key pieces of their defense.
Yeah.
So I think that they will probably be really good playoff contenders next year, given that I think that they're probably going to win the division again.
Yeah. Next one up is the Falcons. This one's intriguing. You have they finally have a quarterback that they can roll with, who's proven themselves. Yes, he's coming off injury, which might pose a problem, but I see them as
Not
potential
just
wild.
any injury, it's an Achilles tear, and he's like 30.
I see them as potential wild cards behind the Bears. I think they're a good team. They have the offense is definitely there with the weapons. Especially in the offseason, getting some key pieces. Plus their defense is okay. So I see them at potential wild cards behind the Bears.
I'd put them in front of the Bears because the Bears are going to have new offensive pieces, so they're going to have to figure that out after a couple games. The Falcons have made the playoffs more recently than the Bears have, to what I can remember. Um, so I think that the Falcons have a little more experience in the playoffs than the Bears do. If they do get there, potentially only one win. Uh, so yeah, I have them in between the Bears and the Cowboys because they're not yet at the caliber skill level that the Cowboys have, mainly because their defense. I mean, like you said, it is mediocre. It's not. I mean, it's not the best. So I have the yeah, I would have them in between the Cowboys and the Bears.
Awesome.
I'll agree with Tyler. I think that um they kind of belong in that spot just because, they're going to be better this year. Obviously, they got a better QB than they had last year and in the last couple of years. If, depending on how well they draft this year will be indicative also upon how well they do. Because they have a really good tight end. I know everyone shits on Kyle Pitts, but um, he's not that bad of a tight end. He just didn't get targeted a lot. And they also have a all pro running back and future all pro running back in Bijan Robinson. And I think that they have the chance to, it's either going to be the Bucks or the Falcons who either wins the NFC South, in my opinion, this year. And I think that they're a close second behind the Buccaneers.
I agree.
Yeah, and I would go to even say that on top of the Bears picking up DeAndre Swift, I honestly think that Bijan Robinson has the potential to, or if not, is already better than DeAndre Swift, just because he's quicker. I think he's bigger. I mean, just
Yeah.
like on TV, it looks bigger. Pause. Um, but yeah, and just in overall features, I think Bijan Robinson is a better running back than DeAndre Swift. So I think that what kind of carries them over the Bears a little bit, and just on top of the Bears having new pieces. So yeah.
All right. We're called bringing the heat for a reason. So I'm gonna bring the heat on this one. The Panthers. Austin, I feel like you're gonna love me after this, but I this is the hot take that I'm gonna have for probably this episode. I see them at mediocre at best. Obviously last season was very, 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 very underwhelming for the picks that they had. People thought they were gonna be at least decent, but they weren't. With
It was a
they picked
miserable season.
yeah, they picked up another receiver with Deontay Johnson from the Steelers, RIP Steelers legend with Tyler. Um which is a good pickup for them. They have the running back with Miles Sanders, who can definitely get it done for a team. Obviously, proved himself in Philadelphia. They definitely have the pieces. Bryce Young's developing. Obviously, his first year didn't go as
And
expected.
make sure you can line up behind the center.
Yeah, that too. Also, we'll probably put the clip in here too.
I wonder if he's thinking two plays to get this yardage.
Now they got the bunch at the top of the screen.
But I think with the draft, I know they lost Brian Burns. So if I do put them at mediocre best, they're definitely gonna be at the bottom. But I see their season going better this year than it did last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're not young, really.
They're also not intriguing.
Yeah. So
I don't know
I
if how
don't know.
both of you agree with that.
You can
same
put them
exact-
at Austin. We'll let you put your team where you want. I say they're number one pick contender because I don't see them winning
Yeah.
more than 5 games probably
And
this season.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be real. I totally agree with Tyler, and this is just coming from just watching the team. They did go out and get what we needed more this year, which was halfway decent O line. We did go out and sign like a whole bunch of really good offensive linemen, which is really good.
I'm gonna put them in front of the Giants though. I think they'll do better than the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe but actually, I'll agree with you because the Giants lost a lot of pieces this year, but I really I don't think they're for the next until they get rid of the owner, until the owner decides to sell the team. I don't think the Panthers will ever be relevant ever again until he decides to call it quits and sell the damn team because he him making all the decisions for the franchise is not making it any better. He just keeps driving it into the ground. And I mean, we haven't really drafted great in the last couple of years, and we haven't been relevant since 2016, and we probably won't ever be for a really long time. So I really don't think that they are anywhere close to even being anywhere close to mediocre or even being young and intriguing. They're probably always going to be contending for the number one pick for the next couple of years.
All right. Last NFC division. We have the NFC West. That includes the 49ers, the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. Very, very underwhelming this year on all teams. But first we're gonna start off with the 49ers. After the last season they had and the movements that they've made, I really couldn't see them anywhere else but Super Bowl favorites.
Yep.
Who is it?
49ers.
Yeah,
Quick and easy.
that's a no-brainer. We don't even need to spend time talking about that.
Rams. With losing Aaron Donald, I see them mediocre at best. That defense is nothing without him, in my opinion. I think that he was their entire defense last year and the year before, and the reason why they won the Super Bowl was because of Aaron Donald making that final play. So I got them mediocre at best, behind the Saints. I think the Saints are better.
That is a wild take.
Yeah, I see them as a potential wild card because they do have offensive weapons that could carry
Puka
them.
Nacua had an insane year, broke rookie records.
I see them behind the Bears though, if you're gonna put them at potential wild cards.
It's hard. They did run into the Ravens, so kind of what?
Also did the Chick-fil-A girl thing. The all right.
But
what you got?
yeah, I'd put them in front of the Bears.
Yeah, I mean,
Just because of
mainly
the
just
playoff
because,
experience.
yeah, I sitting there and saying Aaron Donald was their entire defense is kind of stupid. I know that the caliber of his player, it does take a hit to their defense, but they still have a decently good quality defense that even without him could still win them some games. They still have the offense. They still have Matthew Stafford. They still have Cooper Kupp. Don't forget about that duo. And they also have Puka
Tyler
Nacua,
Higbee.
who had an insane year. They just ran into a really good Lions team who was hungry. They had been to a playoff team in a while, so I'd put
Well,
them at
the next one is the Cardinals. Lost Marquise Brown. I've seen enough of him playing on the Ravens to know he's a good player, so losing him is definitely a tank to the team. So I see them honestly, I see them behind the Commanders and young but intriguing, especially with their top 4 pick that they have this year. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I put them in front of the Panthers on first contention. First number one.
There you go.
Contention. So you
What are
agree?
we talking about again?
the
Cardinals.
Cardinals, dummy.
The Cardinals.
Austin and I both have them in front of the Panthers for number 1 pick contention.
Yeah.
They're
I
not
mean,
great.
they lost
They don't
Marquise
have-
Brown,
Yeah.
a good weapon on offense, and they were kind of mediocre this year. So yeah.
All right. The final team for that division. Wait, right? No, there's 2 more, right? No, I think we got them all. Yeah, we got them all. The last one's the Seattle Seahawks.
Painfully mediocre.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them
Painful.
honestly. I'll put them in front of the Saints just because of the weapons they have on offense, and their defense with Woolen, and how fast he is. They did lose Bobby Wagner, which is a tank for them, but a good thing for the Commanders, which is why they're at young but intriguing. If they didn't get Austin Eckler and Bobby Wagner, I would have put them at number 1 pick contention. But with that being said, I got them in front of the Saints at mediocre at best.
I would go up one more
Come
in
on,
front of the Vikings.
they are painstakingly the definition of mid. And the reason is they don't have a QB good enough to take them to the
Tyler,
playoffs.
what I'll do just because
What?
you said you want to put them in this playoff team, What I'll do is I'll put
Wait,
him right
hold on,
there.
Austin. What?
Geno Smith is not that guy.
He's not. He had a few good games and then he
He
fell
had,
off.
he had a great season or 2 years ago. Great season. Got him to the playoffs, but he is not the guy. And see, I am being 100% for real. He is not that guy. You are not that guy, pal.
So you mean to
You
tell
are
me
not that guy.
if the Vikings or if the Seahawks and the Saints played each other, that the Saints would win, or that the Vikings
Yes.
or that the Saints would
Seahawks
barely
will win, yes.
lose?
Yes.
No, bro. I think they could beat the Vikings.
No.
The Vikings have a better offense and probably a better defense than the Seahawks do.
I don't know. I just think
Tyler,
I think
just-
I think the Seahawks had. Yeah. Okay. That I feel more comfortable about that.
I think that they are painstakingly
I
mid.
think the Seahawks
Put
had
more emphasis on the word mid.
All right. That is all of our NFC teams. So you all can take a look at those. With the AFC, we're gonna go in the same direction. We're gonna start off with the AFC North. Arguably, in my opinion, and I know Tyler agrees with me too, AFC North is arguably the most competitive and the best division in all of NFL football. What did I say? NFL football, National Football League. So we're gonna start in order. My truly, I have the Ravens. If they didn't pick up Derrick Henry, I would say they were playoff contenders. With Derrick Henry, I'd say I'd put them behind the Lions as far as Super Bowl contenders, in between the Packers and the Lions.
You know, I'm gonna give you so much respect for that pick because I really thought you were gonna say they were Super Bowl favorites.
No,
And you actually respectfully put them where they should be, and you put them exactly where I would put them too.
the only reason I'm saying that, and this is no hate to my
Much
team.
respect for that pick.
Yeah, this is no hate to my team. This is no hate to what they have going. But John Harbaugh, I feel like this is the same. Before this, we obviously watched the Kentucky game. I think it's a similar situation as Kentucky basketball, where he had his run. He did good as a coach, but his scheme and the way he coaches is outdated. Just like what Tyler was talking about, John Calipari. I think that his way of coaching is definitely outdated now. So I think the best thing for them is to find a new coach. With that being said, they definitely have the skill set to make the Super Bowl. I think that they can make the Super Bowl, but I think that the Lions have a better chance. Yeah. So I think they're a contender to make it to the Super Bowl. They can, with the cast that they have on that team, they can definitely win the Super Bowl. But with their track record and how Lamar plays in the playoffs and coaching wise, I put them in between the Lions and the Packers.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Because as far as if you put the Lions next to the Ravens on paper, obviously, if we're choosing just one running back, I mean, no matter who it is, Derrick Henry's better than both of them. But I think the wide receiver cores, what separates them is the Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
And the Ravens don't have that quote unquote wide receiver one yet.
The closest thing they have to the wide receiver one position is Zay Flowers, and he's a rookie.
And
which
I don't think
sets that back.
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet. Just yet.
Especially with releasing Odell. I know he didn't do much in the
player.
playoffs or the regular season. He had a few good games here and there, had some good plays, but it wasn't what everyone thought it was going to be. So I like where we have him there.
I think
Next
that's
up, I see on
perfect
the
for
list.
Ravens.
Yeah. Next up, I see on the list is the Bengals. Obviously, last season, I know. Obviously, last season, their season was very underwhelming with losing Joe Burrow. Here's what I'll say. T. Higgins is most likely gone. Joe Mixon is for sure gone. He's with the Texans now. But I can't count Joe Burrow out. So this is what I will say. I'm going to put them at the top of the playoff contenders. If they didn't lose, if they still had either Joe Mixon or T. Higgins, I would have them in Super Bowl contenders behind the Ravens. But since they lost those two key pieces, because if you look at the Bengals, their running game is an important part of their offensive scheme. Yes, receiving is big for them too, but running is also very, very big for them. So right now they don't have a running back that I am very, very set in stone on. So that's why I'm going to put them at top of playoff contenders or behind the Packers and Super Bowl contenders.
I would go straight like you said, top of the playoff contenders because only reason is because Joe Burrow is way better than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, agreed.
Burrow has gotten over that hump. He knows what it takes to get over that hump.
And he's definitely better than
Baker-
Jordan Love, but with Jordan Love's team compared to the Bengals, as far as losing all their important pieces, I really can't put the Packers behind the Bengals.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield hasn't gone over that hump. He doesn't know what it takes to. Jalen Hurts did, but he had a huge down year.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's only up for them. But they got whooped by the Buccaneers, explains why they're in front of them. So I think putting the Bengals at the beginning of playoff contenders because they did take a step back in free agency this year.
Yep.
Most likely T. Higgins. It's probably 50-50 on if he's gone or not. That's probably the best position. I can't see anywhere else. Maybe once we get done with Super Bowl contenders, that they would be at the back, but unless they make any moves, I don't see myself putting them above any of the teams.
They're
that
definitely
are
gonna make the
Super Bowl
playoffs.
contenders. Yes, 100%.
Also, what you got?
I think that the Bengals, I would put them, in my opinion, I'd put them in front of the Packers, but my opinion is outweighed here, so we'll just go with what you said. But I just think that because they're the only, Joe Burrow's the only QB that's proven to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and I mean that's all I need to say about that. It doesn't matter
right.
what team he has.
Next one up, I'll let Tyler speak about this first, just because it's his team. And I'll go based off what he thinks. Tyler, what do you got for the Steelers?
So the thing with us is we always make the playoffs. We always find a way to stay above 500 or at 500. Unless we make changes with head coaching, that's not going to change. So for me, I think we have a better chance to compete, to advance better than the Cowboys. But I would put us at the end or at the back of playoff contenders because we always find our way to get there. We just haven't had the pieces or we haven't stayed healthy enough to get over that first win in the playoffs in a while. So that's where I would put my Steelers.
Tyler, couldn't have said it any better myself. I definitely see them with picking up Russell and having that backup in Fields, with that expertise that Russell has. If he does stay with the Steelers long term and retires with them and teaches Justin Fields, I'm excited to see the Steelers' future with Justin. Coming from a Bears fan, I'm really, really excited to see what he does in Pittsburgh. So I think with adding Russell Wilson, having a good quarterback, since Ben Roethlisberger, I see them at right behind the Eagles with playoff contenders. I think they're better than all those teams and the potential wild cards. I in a certain situation I could put them in front of the Eagles, but in this circumstance with everything with how the Steelers perform normally with the playoffs, I see them behind the Eagles and playoff contenders.
Yeah, because we haven't gotten over that
Yeah.
win yet. Neither have the Cowboys, but I think we can compete better.
Yeah,
than
and
them.
Yeah, and
I
I
agree with
believe
you.
I believe you all can do that. But we'll see how the season goes. So.
I agree with you, so I won't say much about that.
All right. Last AFC North team is the Cleveland Browns. If they still had Joe Flacco, I would say Super Bowl contenders. But with the loss of Joe Flacco, personally, I really can't see them. And they did pick up Jerry Jeudy. There's no hiding that. I would put them probably at the right between the Bengals and the Buccaneers for playoff contenders.
See, quarterback is obviously a big thing when it comes to swapping in and out, as specifically at that position, because it can change your whole entire team. Um, Best case scenario for the Browns, I would either put them in front of the Cowboys or behind the Cowboys because they haven't consistently gotten to the playoffs as well as the Cowboys or the Steelers have. So I would put them probably behind the Cowboys because obviously the Falcons are going to be new with Kirk Cousins, so we don't know how they're going to be yet. So, but we know what the Browns are capable of.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. Best case scenario, they're a wild card team. They're going to be behind the Cowboys in this tier list, and that's where I put
Austin,
Yeah,
who
I
you
mean,
got?
I'd put the Browns really in potential wild card because they kind of choked
In
this
front of the
year.
Cowboys?
Uh, yeah, because they I feel like they would be better than the Cowboys in the playoffs. So yeah, I'll agree with that.
All right. Next team is the AFC East, which consists of the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots, and the Jets. We're gonna first start off with the Dolphins. With how the AFC East has upgraded this year, and especially with the Jets and the Bills, I see them finishing third in their division. So I see them missing the playoffs in front of the Vikings. I think they're better than the Vikings, but I don't see them making the playoffs.
I agree with you.
Who's this in the Bills?
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
I put them in front of the Vikings and missing the playoffs.
And I agree with you just because I really think that they have the offense, but they can't do anything in the postseason. And I think
Yep.
they have the best offense on paper. It's just when it comes to teams that compete in the playoffs is a different level, and
Yep.
the Dolphins don't bring that kind of competitiveness to their team when it really matters.
I would put the Dolphins in front of the Bears because the Dolphins they're gonna make the playoffs. I view the Dolphins as a resemblance to the Cavaliers. They are a dominant team in the regular season, and they haven't gotten over any humps in the
Yeah.
playoffs. I think I'm specifically talking towards Donovan, no shade or anything,
No.
but I think that's how would view the Dolphins. I'd put them in front of the Bears because the Bears haven't made the playoffs. Dolphins have. They know what it takes to get there. I wouldn't put them in front of the Rams
Really?
because I don't even know what that was. I wouldn't put them.
It was your phone.
Huh?
It was your
I don't
phone.
even. Yeah, that just somebody texted me, but I wouldn't put them in front of the Rams because once the Rams figure out their defense, they'll be a lot better than the Dolphins will.
I'm gonna go ahead and just put them behind the Bears just because Austin and I put them at the missing the playoffs in the front, but you put them in front of the Bears, so we're just gonna do consensus and just knock them back. You got someone like trying to message you? Do you need to, like take a break, take a step away?
No, I don't need to take a break. I just. Oh my god, bro. Okay, don't worry about it. Just keep going.
All right. Next one up is the Bills. I think they're the same situation as the Steelers, where they have pretty decent seasons, but I don't know if they're going to get over that playoff hump. So I'd see them you
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Just keep going. Come on. Just keep going.
Okay. So I'll put the Bills behind the Eagles and in front of the Steelers.
Yeah, because the Bills they have gotten to the AFC Championship. Steelers haven't. Browns haven't. Eagles have. I think that's the best spot for them.
Awesome. What you got?
Is the Bills?
I'll agree with you. I think that's
Dude, this
All right, hold on.
Austin, can you put a thing up on the top of the screen of Tyler's ding counters?
Yeah. Who were we even talking about? The Bills?
Bills.
The Bills.
Okay. I think that the Bills need to prove something in the postseason, and they really haven't. But I would agree with you that I think that they are still a playoff contender because they have a good enough team to do that. So I'd put them in that same spot for you.
Bro, I can't do anything, dude. I don't know what you want me to do.
You could turn your volume. You could turn your volume down.
All right. Next up,
There we go.
we have the Patriots. I'll put them behind the Cardinals. With number one pick contention. Blondie, come on, dude. It's not that hard. We're talking about the Cardinals or the Patriots.
They're buns, straight dog water. They're ass.
All right. Well, we're
Yeah,
gonna go
put them between the. Yeah, no, go back.
No, put
Yeah,
them. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
All right. Last and final team. Hot take. I got them in between the Ravens and the Packers, the Jets.
I'd put
Aaron
them
Rodgers.
after the Packers. No, I'd put them
Yeah,
after
the Packers. Yeah,
Okay,
we
fair
need
enough.
to see
Because
what
they still
they're
need to
like
prove-
with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they still need to prove something this
enough.
year. Yeah, nothing
All right.
needs to be said.
So that completes the AFC East. Last we have the AFC South, which consists of the Texans, the Titans,
thing
the Colts,
is,
and the Jaguars.
you said last, right?
Huh?
Tell me why there's still 2 divisions left.
Oh my God, it really does not matter.
Anyway, so the last or the one that we're going on with now is the AFC South with the Texans, the Titans, the Colts, and the Jaguars. Texans, I got them in between the Ravens and the Packers for Super Bowl contenders.
I wouldn't put them there yet because they're too young, and I'd give them one more year. So
I'll put them, actually, I take that back. I'll put them behind the Bengals and playoff contenders.
There you go.
Tyler, you agree?
I mean, there's nothing that
I would put that. I would put that behind the Packers.
I just don't see them. They're not ready for a Super Bowl contention yet. There's too many teams. The Chiefs are always going to.
By the way, once we're finished with the list, if you all see anything that you want to move up, down, like up a few spots, down a tier, whatever, just let me know. Next one's the Titans. I got them behind the Commanders at young but intriguing.
I would have to disagree with you. As a Kentucky fan,
What else?
I'm gonna back up my
Banana
quarterback.
Man is not the guy.
Who?
Banana Man is not the guy.
Are you talking about Will Levis?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about your mom.
Mayo in his coffee.
No, I think Will Levis.
The Mayo Man.
I think Will Levis will he will eventually become the starting quarterback, and when he does, they will always miss the playoffs. I don't see them making the playoffs really unless they get a really. Bro, what is going on? But anyways, put the Titans in front of the Vikings, or okay, hold on.
Keep going. No, bro. Keep going, bro. Keep going.
Put the Titans in front of the Vikings. Put the Titans in front of the Vikings. Let's move on and continue.
No, that's way too high.
What?
No, Brand, we're gonna veto his opinion real quick, and we're gonna put him in the number one.
I'll put him there.
Okay,
all right, fine. Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Okay.
No. No. No.
Leave it, Brand. Leave it.
No, put them behind the Titans. They
All
are
right,
not.
so our next team is the Indianapolis Colts.
You know they are.
We,
on the level.
what do you guys think about how the Colts?
You know they are on the level of the Saints.
That's the kind of take you just had, Tyler.
Yeah, that's like saying the
bro.
Panthers are Super Bowl.
Put them behind the Saints. They are not on the same level as the Commanders.
Got your neck. All right. Colts. I got the Colts. Let's see. Where would be a good spot for them?
I have them at missing the playoffs.
In front of the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree.
Or
Anthony Richardson's the guy, but the team's it's not it.
We'll see
honestly,
how they do.
I'd consider putting them in front or behind of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I feel like they can do better in the playoffs than the Dolphins can.
All right. Next and final one in that division, the Jaguars. I got them honestly behind the Seahawks and missing playoff teams.
I would put them in front of the Seahawks.
Actually, yeah.
No. Okay, yeah, I'll agree with that. I thought you were going to disagree with putting them in that section. I think that they're never going to win.
I think that's the best. That's
all right. Last and final division, AFC West. with the Broncos, the Raiders, the Chiefs, and the
Most
Chargers.
lopsided division in football.
I'm gonna go ahead and do us a quick favor. No discussion needed. Actually, you know what? There we go. No discussion needed. I really don't think we need to really explain that. It's they're adding more pieces. Patrick Mahomes, he's gonna do his thing. He's the next Tom Brady. Enough said.
Period.
Yep. Next the
I think
Broncos.
there's one obvious. I think there's
Broncos.
one obvious move as well.
Yeah, I honestly, I gotta put him here.
I'd go.
And I'd go one more up.
Like here.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
I think they're better than the Cardinals. I just don't
True.
care.
All right.
Better.
Next is the Raiders. If you ask me,
mediocre at best.
I got them there.
No,
I think they're.
Well,
I think they're
actually,
mediocre
no.
at best.
Put them at mediocre because they have a better QB this year, and they
True.
still have Devontae Adams, and they have a good defense, and Max Crosby leading the way.
Now, this one right here is interesting for me. I'll show you all where I'm going to put them, and then I'll drag them back down. So if you all close your eyes real quick. All right. And, if I can get them there. Come on. There we go. All right, you can open your eyes.
No.
Actually, you know what? I just realized they lost half their offense. I just realized they lost half their offense.
There you go, Brain. Look, you actually have a brain. That's why I was like, no.
Put them behind the Titans.
Now, if they
Actually,
still
like the
had
Titans are better.
if they still had their whole offense, I'd probably put them in potential wild cards, but not
All right.
after.
Now, this is our tier list. I'm going to start with Tyler on this next part. Tyler, you have the chance to move one team. Which team are you moving, and where?
Okay, Super Bowl favorite.
Austin, you and I cannot veto this.
Super Bowl.
Can I move it back? Can I move it back?
No, because that's unfair to Tyler if he goes first.
Super Bowl favorites, obviously, yes, 100%. Super Bowl contenders, yes. Playoff contenders, yes. I would go, yeah. Potential wild cards. I'll go yes for now. Missing playoff teams, I would agree. Mediocre, yes. It'd be hard.
You can use this to move the Titans in front of the Saints.
I already know.
But I'm also thinking about putting the Colts in front of the Dolphins.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Brain, I'm sorry. But I think that the Bears need one more year to be able to figure out what their offense is going to function like before I can really get an idea of how well they can coexist together. So I'm going to put them right in front of the Colts for missing playoff
After
games.
I praised your Panthers, I cannot believe you.
But I'm going to...
I'm going next. I'm going next.
Hold on.
I'm going to go ahead and make this move real quick. They're going number one overall pick again. All right, Tyler, it's your toast now.
Okay, but I think we could all agree that the Bears
we're playing that way. No, listen, real quick.
Also, I moved them.
I think we all could agree that we should put the Bears behind the Dolphins because they're probably not going to miss.
No, I think that.
All right, Tyler, I agree with you. Moving on.
You said you couldn't veto. What?
Yeah, that is true.
No, I made my pick. You gotta live with it.
If I'm going off what I potentially think, I would put the Titans. I'd put the Titans in front of the Saints, or the Colts in front of the Dolphins. But I'm going to choose the Titans over the Saints because I believe once Tennessee decides that Will Levis will be their full-time starter, he will develop and he won't be the best, but he will be a great quarterback for their system. And I think that'll be
for my next one. I want to spice this up. So what I'm going to go ahead and tell you is take a nice look at the Super Bowl contenders and the playoff contenders real quick. Look at the list. kind of keep in mind who's in each of those rows. And I want you all to close your eyes. I'm going to switch 2 of them because there's 2 teams I think I can switch. Okay. Move them there, and I'm moving them there. All right. You can open.
Okay. If we're gonna go with this, I think the Jets would be in front of the Bengals
Fair
only
enough.
because they have a
And
way better defense.
would still move the Texans down in front of the Bengals. And the reason why I say that is because I
But
still
that's
don't
my
think
move. That's my move. That's my hot take.
I think that was a great move, in my opinion.
All right. I don't know about you all, but I honestly I feel really good about this list. I feel like there could be one of these teams in here that could go, 2 tiers up in this season that we're not thinking about, or something that can go all the way to the bottom. We're gonna see how this next season unfolds. Obviously there's a lot of time between now and then. A lot of things can happen. Injuries during practice, draft picks could get swapped. We're gonna see how it goes. But for right now, in this current day, in this current situation, this is what we got. With that being said, we'll reflect on this at the end of next season. That'll be one of our episodes. Is we will go back through this video, and we'll rank all these teams in the exact same order, and then we'll see how they produce this season compared to how we ranked them on our personal list.
Bro.
who is texting you, bruh?
All right. Anyways, with that being
Um,
said, that's it for this video.
Yeah. You want me to exit it?
Yeah,
Get up
I'm
outta
just gonna say a few quick things real quick. We really appreciate your all support. I'm gonna make this quick and sweet. We really appreciate your all support. Obviously, right now we are very small as far as our viewers count and like subscribers. We are getting a lot of views on these videos. So if you do have a YouTube account or a YouTube channel, please subscribe. It helps us get put out there. It helps us grow. We've had enough views on the videos to have those subscribers. So just take a second while we're sitting here and talking to you all to scroll down below, hit that subscribe button. You can hit the notification button or the bell if you want to get notifications in your email or on the app when we post. And then also hit that like button so it also boosts our viewership up. And like Tyler always says, subscribing is free, costs $0. It's free 99. It doesn't cost anything at all. So if later down the road you decide that you don't want to follow us anymore, that is 100% okay. And then you can unsubscribe from us and you don't have to watch us anymore. But we ask for right now, just to kind of make us grow and we can find more followers. We ask for y'all to subscribe.
Yeah. Braden said it pretty much. We would love all of your all support. Any support helps, whether it's on our Instagram, on our TikTok, or on our YouTube. Any way you want to follow us is perfectly
Don't forget
fine
to
with
share it to
all
your
of us.
family members, your friends, your sports buddies, your group chats, your sports teams, whatever you want to do. If we have a team in here that your friend is a big fan of, and we rank them low or we rank them high, send it to them so they see it, and maybe they'll follow us too.
Yeah. Yeah. Just pretty much. Hit the like button, subscribe. Like I say, every video. You can always change your mind later. Uh, if you all do like these videos, like Braden said, share. We would much appreciate it. We are looking forward to kind of posting around midweek every week because that's best available for us to
All of
get
us.
our videos out to you all. Um, if y'all enjoy, I think I pretty much said everything. Please continue to watch if you love our content. We much appreciate it.
We try our
Um,
best.
yeah, we love doing this, and
I
we
do
wouldn't want
want
to
to
do
say
anything
this
else.
before we hop off here. I know Tyler and I talked about it. So I want to kind of put this out there, and I know Tyler will support me on this. Austin, can you please stand up really quick?
What?
Just stand up. No, you gotta scoot back so we can see you.
Well, I can't.
Perfect.
Everybody in the
Round of
comments.
applause for Austin. Round of applause for Austin.
Everybody go in the comments and comment W Austin. He has done such a great job on these videos.
All of the editing that you all see in our videos, all of the editing you see of the zooming in, all of the effects, all the sounds, all the bloopers, all of the intros, the outros.
It's your boy.
Yeah, it's been Austin. Austin is the one who edits our videos. He puts a lot of time and dedication into these videos, especially personally with editing in a video that's an hour long. I personally would not want to do that. I probably wouldn't have the attention span to do that. But Austin takes through it. He wants to do it. He loves to do it. So please show him support in the comments below. Austin is
Austin.
he's an amazing editor, and Austin, we really appreciate you putting in the time and effort in your busy schedule to produce these videos and let them out. He also manages our social media accounts, so our TikTok, our Instagram. He edits those clips that we post on there. Austin does all of it. Now that is no discredit to me and Tyler. We do our stuff behind the scenes too. We do our stuff on the camera as well. But I really want to give a big thanks to Austin, especially with the new video that we came out, the new editing style and making thumbnails, and making it more entertaining for our viewers and making it kind of keep them on their toes. So Austin, I really want to give you a big thank you for doing that. It's not easy. It's something that I couldn't do. And you definitely have that creative mind behind it. So kudos to you.
Yeah, we appreciate your time and effort into these videos because we know it means a lot to you to put the time and effort into a craft that us three have
Especially for an hour and a half.
Have loved doing. We know it doesn't take a short amount of time. We know it takes long, and we appreciate you for sitting down, being patient with yourself and your creativity to pretty much make the best edits for us possible. We don't want you to go without this being unrecognized, your hard work and dedication. We appreciate
guys, we can say this
done.
because we're his family, but also we love you. We appreciate you and thank you for your hard work.
Yeah, we love you. We want you to be you, especially with all these edits. We love it. We can't. I don't think we can say much more, but besides that, we love it and we appreciate.
We really appreciate
all you've done for all these videos. With that being said, I know we said it before, but subscribe. You can always change your mind later. We will have a 6th episode coming out, or no, a 7th episode coming out soon.
This is 6.
Yeah, we don't know what it's gonna be yet, but when it does come out,
but that's the goal for right now.
Yeah, like we said last video, it's gonna try to be once a week.
With that being said, thank you all for watching.
Peace.